Hey, we are on. Oh, I've not sorted my mic out. One sec. Right, there we go. Bit better. One sec. Maybe. There we go. That's better. Right, that'll be better now. Right, let me have a look who's in the chat. So I have just shouted into the mic again there. So yeah. Oh, I've got my merch on today. It's not my new merch though. This is my old merch. Yeah, merch on today. I like it. I'm rocking it. I love it. I love my merch. I love my merch. Oh, I'm slightly out of frame there, aren't I? I think I'm a bit bigger today, actually. Oh, and I've also got the new background on. I'm looking at OBS, by the way, right now. I got my new background on, my wooden background. People seem to like it. I've had 2 people comment saying we like this background. So I thought, you know what, let's try it today for Thursday Talks. But anyway, we shall get on with it today. We are talking about ethics and reselling. But before we get onto that, and before I explain why I've chosen that topic, I'm sure a few of you will be aware one of the reasons I've chose that topic. But before I do that, I'll get on and have a look in the old chat, see who's in there. So we've got a few people joining. I am a little bit later today. I'm trying to make a conscious effort to have my lunch a little bit later so I can actually get on close to that 1 o'clock and not be really ridiculously early. Even though 9 minutes to 1 o'clock is still very, very early. Anyway, so we've got Robert Walker in the chat. I don't know whether I've seen you in the chat before, but if you've been in the chat before, hi there and welcome if you are new. We've got George in the chat, we've got Southwest Sellers, which is Gary, we've got Ryan, we've got Tom, and I think that's... Oh, and we've got Peter. I don't even know why I missed Peter there. He said 2 things in the chat. But yeah, we've got Peter as well. So, yeah, throw your questions in the chat. Also, as I say, I'm going to be sort of centering this episode around ethics in reselling. Now, I do want to sort of make you aware that this topic has come from... basically where I got the idea was from a Facebook post over the, is it Kevin the Carrots? I'm not sure. Now, the Facebook post got quite heated. So please let me state here now, we're not talking about Kevin the Carrots. And if we are going to get into heated debate, I want it to be heated debate only. I do not want personal attacks. I do not want people calling other people out. You know, for example, someone might choose not to sell taxidermy because they're of a certain religion or something like that. I do not want any personal attacks like that, like, you know, getting into the topic of religion or anything like that. I don't want anything like that. I want people to be respectful on this topic. And if someone doesn't sell something for a certain reason, that is their prerogative and it's their right to do so. So, for example, I wanted to talk about actually selling different things. So actually ethics in what you will sell. So, for example, like I don't particularly, like I've just used the example there of taxidermy, I don't particularly have any qualms with if I wanted to sell taxidermy, I would sell taxidermy. And, you know, a lot of things that maybe are allowed on eBay, but, you know, maybe it comes into that sort of morals, you know, whether you're going to sell it or not. You know, what do you guys actually feel about that? What do you guys, what ethics do you have? Will you just sell anything? Will you, you know, is there certain items that you morally object to selling? And again, this is just if you guys want to share this information. If you don't want to share that information, that's fine. But no, there's a lot of, you know, certain people will say they're completely against selling like a certain niche, and then other people will be, you know, they have different reasons for obviously for selling in that niche. So as I say, it might be a bit of a heated one, this, if, you know, a couple of people have differing views. So that's why I want to make sure that, you know, if we are getting into that heated debate, we keep it respectful, and we're just here to share each other's opinions and obviously take that as what they are, and that is just our own opinions. It doesn't mean to say that one way is completely right, one way is completely wrong. It's literally just different opinions on different subjects. So anyway, yeah, let's have a look. We've got Do It Yourself Lifestyle in the chat saying, I'll sell my something if it's if it's a profit. Oh my god. If you want to see what he says, obviously you can see the top chat in the replay. So, you know, you can just look in the chat by the side of the video if you want to see what he says. But, yeah, I won't actually repeat that. But, Yeah, to be honest, I have to agree with you. I was looking at it on Facebook actually, and it must be because of my age range or something. But an ad popped up on Facebook saying if you are between the ages of da 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 and in good health da da da, it said you can get £35 per donation. I was like, bloody hell, right? So if I could do it like twice a day, right? If I could do it twice a day, that's £70 a day. And if I could go 5 days a week, that's 350 a week. Times that by 4, that's like 1,400 a week. Sorry, a month, just for doing that. Now, someone's probably going to tell me that you're not allowed to do it that often or something, but yeah, like I was like, oh yeah, I could do this. Yeah, that's an easy life, innit? Bloody hell, just go down there, get your magazine out, you know, and you're just like, yeah, right, walk up, right, what do I need to do? Oh no, wait, I already know what I need to do. And then you're like, yeah, going in there, do it. Right, here you go, here's a little sample, and then just stand it over, and it's like, yeah, I could do that. So no, I agree, I would do that. I know there's probably some people who would not dare, but I can't really think of many men who would completely detest to doing that. Maybe if you're a certain religion again, maybe that's something, a factor, but no, I would do that. I would do that. Forge your own path. This is interesting because obviously most of you'll know Tom is a vegan. So he says, I try not to sell leather and fur being vegan, but still have old stock sticking about from a few years ago. Well, that's interesting. So there's a whole other debate, not necessarily around religion, but around, obviously, you know, if you're vegan, if you're vegetarian, things like that, if you adopt a certain lifestyle choice, there's another whole debate around that and what you will sell because of your sort of lifestyle choice. So, for example, you know, if someone is vegan or vegetarian, you're not going to want to sell. They're not even going to want to come into contact with things like fur and leather and the rest of it, really, because obviously a lot of vegans object to even wearing that sort of stuff, and on good reason, because obviously that's their lifestyle choice. You know, that's a choice they've adopted. So yeah, that's quite interesting actually there. They'd have to import specialist magazines for ads, I reckon. Specialist magazine? What are you talking about? You honestly, you think my browser history is as exotic as, you know, some faraway land, you know, or something? I don't know. Bloody hell. No, it's not that exotic, George. I'm not that, you know, crazy. I mean, it's a little bit exotic, I'll tell you that, but it's not like, ooh, you know, it's not like some of these guys. Anyway. After five, Steve, it's not the same dude. What's that in reference to? Oh, right, after five, oh, I get it, okay. It's not the same. No, it isn't the same. I've not done that many in a 24-hour period, but yeah, I can kind of see that. £35, got a link. Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, I have seen it like, where it's like 25 to sort of 30, 45, 40 quid. And you know, you do get, every now and then, don't you? You just think, you look at it and you think, you know, why haven't I done this in the past, you know? I mean, I've probably only got like, 15, 18 years left of being able to do it, because I reckon at about 40 they cut you off, I think. I don't know. I think that's what it said. It was like between 18 and 40 or 21 and 40 or something, but you do think, because obviously you might be aware that sperm production... Oh, sorry, I wasn't meant to say the word, was I? Oh, damn it! You might be aware that the male system down there produces less of the thing we're not meant to say the word of, I think it's over the age of 30, so it slowly starts to go down after, I think it's 30 to 35, something like that. But anyway, yeah, I wasn't even meant to say the word. I've completely blown the magic out of the water there, haven't I, now, saying the word. But anyway, I wasn't necessarily not saying it because there's kids watching or anything. I was just not saying it because it adds an element of mystery there, doesn't it, you know? I mean, I've said swear words on Thursday Talks before, so it doesn't really matter, but... Anyway, let me go down. Sticky stock or sticky sock. Oh, that's brilliant, Dr. Doodle-Doo. We've got Jay and Callum in there. Sorry, internet is being pants. We'll catch up later. No worries. I'll be glad to see when you guys are back. And obviously, hopefully on YouTube, you'll be talking a little bit about your journey and you know, through, where is it, Thailand and all the rest of it. I don't even know where else you've been, to be honest, but I know it's all sort of Far East or kind of in the East, so it'll be interesting to hear some of that if you're willing to share some of that with us. So we've got, as far as end, am I alone in not wanting to see his browser history? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't really have any, like, the problem with me is I don't have any filter, so, like, I get a lot of pleasure in telling people, like, the things that I do that are a little bit abnormal, because that's how my eccentric brain works. Like, I would completely tell people. The only reason I don't tell people is because just in case my mum or dad watch this, you know, it's like, I don't want them, you know, getting the wrong idea, you know? I mean, the only people in the world I have embarrassment for is my immediate family. Like, I would be incredibly embarrassed if, from my immediate family. Like, everyone else in the world, I don't care what they know about me. Like, I could lay it bare. I could say everything about me, however weird, however wonderful, however cool, however bad, however low, it doesn't matter. But, like, for my family, they're the hardest people to really communicate with in terms of things of that nature, and within good reason, because a lot of people would feel the same, you know? But it's weird for me, because the rest of the world, I could shout it from the rooftops, whereas most people wouldn't be able to communicate it with their family very well, or shout it from the rooftops. So, yeah, I suppose I'm weird in that way, but, yeah, anyway, we won't go into that. Why are we talking about my browser history? We don't need to go into that. No, it's not that, Tom. It's not that. I've never once clicked on any of those links. It's not that, for God's sake. He doesn't help himself. I know I don't help myself, but that's just, you know, that's how I am. I can't, right, you know what was that great quote by someone? I was watching Red Dwarf the other night. If you haven't watched Red Dwarf, it's a great show, you should watch it. Or, like, if you want to watch it, you can watch it. But they were saying, it was one of the episodes where he said this quote, Lister said this quote, I am who I am, or something, and I forgot who it was by, the quote, you know, but he was saying, I think it was I am who I am, the quote. But yeah, I am who I am, so, you know, I'm gonna do what I do, you know, I'm just gonna say the things that come to me, I'm gonna do the things that come to me, because that's who I am. You know, that's who I am. That's what I do. And if you live like that, I think it's just easier, isn't it? Because you're not trying to cover up. You're not trying to think to yourself, like, you know, you've got to be this kind of person. You're just laying it on the floor. I mean, it's good to have a filter, isn't it, when you're talking to people. Like, you know, you don't want to be completely, like, lay it bare when you're talking to some old woman down the charity shop. You know, it's just not the situation. But if every now and then you have that ability to let down your guard and just lay yourself bare for people to see, I think that's a good thing, you know? But you have got to choose the stage you do it on. And I think that's maybe a bit of the reason why I don't, like, just completely lay myself all bare on YouTube in terms of, you know, all my experiences in my life and all the different things that have happened in my life, both good or bad, because it is the world stage, and you do think to yourself, you know, at some point in the future, if I were to reveal all this, or I was to reveal X experience, would it really actually harm me in the future? Whether it may, you know, I'm not just talking about, you know, a future employer, if I ever get one, but I'm talking about, you know, maybe, I don't know, friendships down the line. Would it harm friendships down the line, or would it harm love interest down the line, or whatever it may be? But anyway, we're meant to be getting back to ethics. Why do we keep going off on one? Ads goes off on a tangent after a tangent. Yeah, I know, that's actually what I do. I start going off on something, and then I actually jump to, like, it's kind of like a flow, isn't it? You know, you go off on a tangent, and then you just keep going down it, and then you end up back in a circle right to where you were. But anyway, let's have a look in the chat again. And eventually he'll be back round background what he's background to what he's supposed to be talking about. Do you get £35 every time you show yourself bare on YouTube ad? No! Oh, that's not what we're talking about. You know that's not what we're talking about, for God's sake. Space Age here. Space Age here. What's Space Age? Is that a TV in reference to another TV show, is that? Or, I don't know. Anyway. Yes, back to Chelmsford it is, in the title. Chelmsford? Oh, God. So what are these Vlogmas vids at? Well, I said that on your stream, didn't I, yesterday? And I was watching, I did watch for pretty much a full stream, but I was doing steps back and two, so I couldn't really type that much. But, yeah, I was doing... I said, you know, about doing a couple of vlogs. I will do a couple of vlogs in December. I'm not necessarily going to title them Vlogmas, unless I do one on, you know, New Year's Eve or Christmas Day. Or, not New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve or New Year's... can't even speak, can I? Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, that's what I'm trying to say. If I do one on one of them 2 days, then obviously I'll, you know, I'll entitle them Vlogmas. But if I just do them, you know, like December 10th or something, or, well, no, I won't be doing them December 10th, because I've actually got a video already scheduled for the 5th, a video already scheduled for the 10th, I've got Thursday talks on the 6th, I've got a video scheduled for the 12th, I've got Thursday talks on the 13th, I've got a video scheduled on the 15th, then I've got Thursday talks scheduled on the 20th, well, not scheduled, but Thursday talks on the 20th, and within all of that, I want to do my usual haul videos, so I need to remember all those dates, because I need to do, in between those dates, I need to do haul videos, sales updates, and I want to do 2 of these vlogs. So, my God, you could be getting a lot of videos in December, because I'd say there's already 4 of them already scheduled, and I've got 3 or 4 Thursday Talks episodes in that month, and we've got sales updates once a week, and I've got maybe a haul video once a week, and if I go charity shopping, I might do a little bit of footage from that. So, yeah, you might have... Oh, and I've got an auction in December, early December, 4th of December, so there'll be a haul from that, no doubt, or maybe even like 3 or 4 videos from that. I don't know, it depends on how much I get, and all the rest of it, and whether I can be bothered recording all these separate haul videos, but... yeah, so you might have a lot of videos in December, but I do want to do a couple of vlogs for just around Christmas time, because it's a nice time, you know, I like it, I really do, I enjoy Christmas. You know, some years recently I've not enjoyed Christmas that much, because you get to a point, like, I always feel like I'm in the, I think I've talked about this before actually, so I won't dwell on it too much, but I always feel like I'm in this kind of weird zone at the moment between, obviously, getting a family of my own and having my current family kind of thing. Like, I'm not the child in my current family anymore, but I'm the only, like, I'm the closest person to a child we've got in our family. Like, there's no other children below me. So, what it's always been for me since very, very young is I was the centre of attention, like, you know, at Christmas. And now it's, like, transitioned from that to me, you know, just being a part of the family, which I absolutely love. I don't care for being the centre of attention anymore. Anyway, I'm not a child. But what that means is that we've not got anyone new to be the centre of attention, right? So it's just like a load of, you know, it's a bunch of adults hanging out for Christmas. That's all it is. And although I'm very grateful to be around my family and I absolutely love my family, I just feel like I'm in this weird period of, you know, I'm not quite at the stage where I've got my own family yet. I'm not there, and I don't want to be there until I'm 27, 28. I just don't want to. I'm not ready yet for that. You know, I might be able to financially struggle through it, but I'm not just talking financially. I'm talking personally as well. I just don't feel personally I'm ready for that. You know, and if I get a partner or whatever, I want a few years, you know, just, you know, I don't even want to say the word, but I want a few years of just mucking about, you know what I mean? I mean both sexually, I mean both, you know, I mean like, getting to know them personally, I mean just going out doing crazy stuff, you know, maybe going on holidays or something like that, just doing crazy stuff, you know, like that young people want, that young people feel the need to do because they're going to regret it if they don't do it when they're, you know, 80 and they're getting spoon-fed or they're getting fed for a little drip or something, you know, so, you know, which is completely barbaric anyway, because you're not going to regret your life as long as you take the necessary action. So I don't know why there's all this, you know, young people are very uptight like myself. We've got to do everything now because we feel it's going to, you know, everything's going to fade away kind of thing, but it's completely, it's kind of just a stupid idea, that, because you've got a lot of time in your life, and if you understand that and you can just go with the flow and do the things you're going to do and enjoy the things you're going to do, you have no need for regretting it at the end of your life anyway. So there's not necessarily any need for me to do everything now or anything, but Certainly, I don't want, you know, me. What was I even talking about? Oh yeah, Christmas, right? Sorry, I forget. So yeah, as I say, that's what I'd like for the next few years. But I'm in this period, you know, where Christmas is, it's just adults, you know, and I just can't wait. You know, in one respect, I can wait till 27, 28 or whatever. That's the rough age I'm thinking of getting a family at. But in another way, I can't wait because I'm like, oh, that little kid is growing up, you know, well, I can share with him all the exciting stuff about Christmas. I can put the cookies on the little, you know, mantelpiece downstairs with a glass of milk for a reindeer, and you know, it's just so magical, isn't it, when you've got a kid? But you know, as I say, I'm not there yet. I'm not ready for that. In one way, I am. In another way, I'm not. It's funny because I don't think you ever really, and I've heard this from so many people, and I've heard it in movies and everything as well. But I don't think you're really ever ready for kids, are you? I think that's just a ploy to kind of maybe make you feel like you need to wait more and wait more. But I don't know. I feel personally and financially I'm not there yet, and I shouldn't be at 22. You know, honestly, like in society, no one expects a 22-year-old to have a family and have you know, have a kid straight away. You know, it's more socially acceptable, at least, to maybe wait till your mid to late 20s, and especially with people living longer, you know, with 30 being the new 20 or 40 being the new 30, however you want to, you know, sort of reference it. You know, it's kind of, it's fine to wait and just do it your own way. And if you feel like, you know, you don't want kids till you're in your late 30s, or in your, maybe if you can even wait till you're sort of mid 40s or something. Obviously, you've got problems with obviously women, you know, maybe not being able to have kids then. But certainly, you know, it just whatever goes your way, you know, whatever you feel is the right decision to do, kind of thing. Anyway, my eldest isn't coming home this year. Oh, that's sad. Oh, that's really sad, because I bet it'll be really weird for you, won't it? Because, like, I'm assuming will it just be you and your husband then, Kirsten? Or I'm pretty sure you have another boy, don't you? You have 2 boys, don't you? But yeah, that's gonna be really weird, because I can't imagine it like every year since I was born, I've been with my family, kind of thing, at Christmas, like all the family. And that is going to be that would be really weird for me if one of the family wasn't there. It'd be very odd, you know. You've got so much time for all that, ads. Yeah, well, you know, I have in one way. Ads, would you date another reseller, or would you put it off? I would date another reseller. I was thinking about this today while I was photographing items. You know what I would like? Who I would like to date? I mean, not who I would like to date. I've not got some weird like plan in mind that, oh yes, that person on Instagram, I'm going to date them. That's not at all what I'm thinking. But I mean, if I were to date someone who is a reseller, right? That's how I should have phrased it, because it sounded so bad then. But if I was going to date someone who's a reseller, right? I would want to date a clothing seller, right? Or I would want to marry, or whatever the instance, or get one of the, what's those things between marriage and girlfriend and boyfriend? Not civil partnership, because isn't that just for if you're gay? Like, I don't know whether you can get a civil partnership if you're a man and a woman, right? I don't know. But I would like something in between marriage and girlfriend and boyfriend. I don't want to be, like, I just don't have the greatest, I have a lot of respect for monogamy, but I think it's a flawed system through the eyes of a human. I really do, like, because I mean, my grandparents are married. They've been married 50 odd years. My mum and dad have just had their 30th wedding anniversary last month. And, you know, I do see occasionally there's eruptions and there's arguments, and as my grandparents certainly have been getting older and older, it seems to be more frequent. And in that respect, you know, looking at my own family and sort of analysing a little bit, I do feel like monogamy isn't particularly for everyone, and it is somewhat a flawed system. I'm not saying it doesn't work for everyone. I mean, I'm sure there's people who are 90 who have been married 50, 60 years and absolutely love each other still. But I just don't know whether it's right for me, you know, in my situation. So I'd like something in between married and girlfriend and boyfriend. I don't want to just be girlfriend and boyfriend. I don't want to be married. I want something in between, you know, middle. And then you've got like a little bit of a get out clause. Like, see, if I was married, I'd have to go through all the papers of the divorce stuff and all the rest of it, but something in between that doesn't have as much power, like, not power, but doesn't have as much impact if you wanted to scrap it, kind of thing, you know? But girlfriend and boyfriend seems a bit weak for me, because some girlfriend and boyfriend, it's like, yeah, there's a connection there, but you've not got anything to really certify it a little bit, you know? And what I'm looking for is like a certificate, right? Just a little certificate saying, yes, these two people are together, they're not married, but they are together and they love each other, and, you know, they can go off and see other people if they so wish in a mutual environment or whatever. But, you know, I want like a little certificate kind of thing. So you can say, look, right, you know, I'm not feeling this anymore. We don't need to go for all the papers. I'm not feeling it. Can we kind of just, you know, leave it? You know, like, can we do 10 years? Can there be... I know what I want. I want a time limit marriage, right? Right, so I want to get married and say, right, in 5 years, that's us done, lads. You know, that's us done. You know, I'm not feeling it anymore after 5 years. Let's just go off, see other people. And if we want to renew the marriage, you know, we can. You know, do you want to go for another 5 years, mate? Yeah, I'll do that. And then you're like, yeah, okay, we'll do it. You know, see what I mean? Oh, sometimes I feel like I am very, very odd. Anyway, I've not drunk my tea. Right, let me see. I'm loving the videos. Oh, thank you very much. I nearly said a really bad word then, or pretty much did. Wacky booters. That's what I was trying to say. Slip of the tongue. Noticed getting to know someone came second. Getting to know someone. How do you mean? I'm too far up the chat, so I don't know what you're referring to there as far as then. But I don't know. No. Yeah. The getting to know someone stage is fun, but, you know, and you have that kind of honeymoon phase and stuff, but it's just, yeah, I don't know, you know, sometimes I just feel like I'm more suited to these one night stands, you know, just go in, get your business done, go out again, you know, it's just easy, innit, that, you know, whereas getting to know someone and all of this sort of stuff, you're like building up this emotional connection, and then we end up, you know, tossing you to the side, or you toss them to the side. It gets messy, doesn't it? It just gets messy. Anyway, yeah, so what I was talking about is I would date a clothing seller. I know I went off on a tangent then again. Lol. I'll put your case forward to the women of the world ads, but I'm not sure they will be queuing up. Brilliant. I think you're missing the point of marriage. Why? What? Marriage is a bond between two people, and you put the ring on to signify that it's a circle that cannot be broken, right? And you get married, and you love each other, and you fight through all the hard times, and you fight through the illness and the good times, and you know, well, you don't fight through the good times, but you fight through the illness together. You get through it, and you're stronger because of it. You're stronger because of the arguments. You're stronger because of going through, you know, having a child together. You're each other's best friend while also being each other's lover. You understand them both sexually, physically, emotionally, mentally, all of the rest of it, and you absorb all of them. You absorb all the person, and you really feel love for that person on somewhat like a weird sentient level. It's so crazy, like really, really hard to explain. But yeah, that's marriage, and I get that. But I don't want to go for all the arguments and all that. I'd rather just like, right, you do, can we just go, and then we'll start anew with someone else for 5 years, and then when it's like getting really tough and arguing and stuff, basically I just don't want the hard time of it. I don't want the hard time of it. Like, I don't want to be arguing with someone who I'm meant to love. You know, I don't want that. I really don't. I hate it when I argue with my parents, or I argue with my friends, because it feels like we're not friends. You know, it feels like there's a disassociation there, and I don't like that. I like feeling, oh god, it sounds so bad, because it sounds like I want this weird dystopian future where everyone's happy, you know, like they've all got a grin on the face, like, yeah, we can't be sad, I don't mean it like that, but I mean that if it gets really hard, you know, I'm not talking like we have one argument, but I mean if it gets really hard and we're arguing a lot of the time, I don't want to get through that particular. I think that's, you know, that's just too hard for me. That's just like, I don't want that. Now, I've not met someone who I truly love yet, right? I don't believe that. I don't think I've met someone who I truly love. I've said I love you to people before, but I don't think I was truly in love with them, like actually truly 100% in love with them, you know, analysing, looking back kind of thing. So, you know, with that being said, I've got a lot to learn, and I'm sure a lot of you guys who are older than me in the chat are probably just thinking, oh, well, he's going to scrap all this kind of talk in a few years anyway when he's got more experience with life, right? And that's fair enough, that's probably true. But at the point I'm at now, that's the kind of philosophy, or that's the kind of thinking I have. You know, in 20 years, my God, I could look back on these episodes of Thursday Talks and think, what the hell was I saying? Like, I could be so far off, like, in terms of the actual philosophy, or the actual destination, or the actual kind of life that I actually do end up adopting, and the life that I really do want. You know, I could just be talking drivel right now, honestly, compared to, you know, when I'm 42 or 46 or whatever. And I'm no doubt I am, you know, no doubt I am talking dribble, no doubt that there is something else when, you know, in 20 years time. But that's all part of the journey, you know. That's why I do these episodes of Thursday Talks, because it allows me to look back on my history in somewhat chronological order if I wanted to, and be able to say, oh right, that's the marker for where I was at that point in time. And it's not necessarily that I at 22 am worse than my 42-year-old self, or better than my 42-year-old self, or he isn't better than me, but it's something to be able to, when I am 80 or when I am 60 or whatever, and look back and think, oh right, that's what those were the philosophies I adopted then, this is what led me to this new philosophy, and that was the philosophy I was at when I was 42 or 52 or whatever. And you can see that in these episodes. That's how awesome it is. If you watched all the episodes, and you would have to read between the lines, because I can see it, because I'm myself, right? And I can look back for all these episodes, and I can understand where my mind was at these different points. And it does go to a very, very deep intellectual level in where I was in my mentality, in my spirituality, in my you know, maybe in, you know, everything, like my physical state, my mental state, whatever. But I can see it more clearly. But if you read through the lines, if you were to watch all, I'm not saying do this, because it would be terribly, terribly horrendous to put yourself through this, but if you were to watch episode 1 from episode to episode 149, and you read between the lines, and you really understood what I was saying, not what necessarily what I was saying in words, but what I was saying in feeling, actually really absorb who I am, then you would understand, this is where he is now, that's where he was at episode 1, and, you know, in 50 years he's going to be in a different place altogether. And that's what these episodes are designed to do. You know, that's why I called it Thursday Talks. I didn't call it Thursday Reselling or anything like that, because I wanted it to be a documentation of my life just as much as just random reselling chat, you know, just random stuff that's going on in my reselling, you know. I mean, if ever I do get a child, you are going to see a child up here, you know, well, maybe not in this room because I'll have another house, but you will see my child, and I will hold my child up on Thursday Talks, because it's a documentation of my life. And I can look back at 80, when I was 28, holding my newborn baby up, or my, you know, young kid up, and say, oh, that's my life. That is my life, you know. Documentation is just so powerful, and people don't understand it for what it actually is. People think that documentation is meant to get you somewhere. The fact is that you've already arrived with documentation. Right now, I am documenting. I've arrived. I've done. There's nothing I need to progress. I've just done. I'm just documenting now. This is my life, and that's what documenting does, and that's why it's so powerful, you know. And that's why at 80 years old, I'm going to be so full of joy, because I can look back on parts of my life, and even to the extent of being able to go from episode 1 to episode 2000 or whatever, and see the progression of my physicality. So I can see myself in my prime, and then I could go all the way to episode 2000 and see myself when I'm really, really old, and I could think, wow, I've got the ability to do that. Like, that's insane, you know. That is absolutely insane, and it's quite harrowing in a way if you're going to do that. But in another way, it's quite it's quite a nice thing to do. It's like there's a bit of a dark side to that, or harrowing side to that. You know, looking at yourself as being very old, and then looking at yourself to being very young, and you can maybe get a bit depressed or down about that. But also there's a sense of, wow, that's my life, and look what I've done, kind of thing, and look all the different topics I've talked about, all the different things I've talked about, all the different things that encapsulate the very soul of who I am. That is amazing, you know, if you look at it like that. But anyway, let's have a look down the chat. Oh god, I got off a ramble. Afternoon, everyone. Is Ads trapped in a box? Has he shipped himself aboard? No, I'm not trapped in a box. I just put this on because people like this one. But maybe they don't like this. Maybe they don't like this background, Lex, since you think I'm in a box. But anyway, I don't know. I don't know whether that was meant as a I don't know. Anyway, ring 999. We have an emergency. This guy won't stop. I know. I apologise. Question: when do you think your prime is? I'm still waiting for mine to kick in at age 46. I believe personally that mentality, like your emotional or mental prime, can be like 80. It could be like I'm not talking your brain. Like when I say your mind or mental, I don't mean your brain. Your brain as a physical entity is, you know, is way past its prime at 80. But I mean the things that you can do with your mind, like how connected you are with your mind, you know, in terms of how, and we are going to get, this is kind of getting into Taoism and Buddhism and all the rest of it, and Indian cosmology and stuff like that, which I am kind of a bit of an agnostic on at the moment. So I kind of do believe in it, but I don't quite believe in it at the moment. That's where I am spiritually. But if we're going to get into all that, you know, all that sort of, it's kind of conjecture as well. But if we're going to get into that, I do feel the mind can be, you know, there can be someone at 80 can be way more sort of, not powerful, because powerful isn't the word. You've got to choose your words carefully when you're talking about this stuff. But essentially, it can be so much more in their prime. That's a good word, like you used there. But, you know, it can be so much more in their prime or at this state of majesty than when we were a lot younger. Now, if we are talking about physicality, just your physical form, every scientist will tell you that you end up declining. You know, for different people with different DNA, different genes, everything else, it works in different ways. It takes longer, like, you know, so generally, like if you're a male, you know, anytime about, I would say personally, anytime about 30 to 35, you're going to start declining. Now, if you're a female, it might be a little bit longer than that. I'm not sure. It might be a little bit shorter. But essentially, on your physical form, you cannot deny that your cells are going to regenerate at a slower rate as you get older. That is the fact. That's complete science. That's like been proven or something. I don't know. Maybe it's not been proven, but you can see it. I mean, like me at 40 is going to be a little bit, you know, my cells are going to be a bit off. There's going to be wrinkles. There's going to be things like that because my cells are regenerating at a slower rate. But if we're talking about spirituality, if we're talking about the mind, I really do not think there's any limit to how far you can stretch your mind, how far you can train your mind, and the prime of your mind could be at any age within your life. Now, of course, I am biased because I'm talking about things that I'm very passionate about, things like Taoism and stuff like that. And as I say, I am a bit of an agnostic in that sort of stuff. As I say, I kind of believe in it and I don't believe in it at the same time. So I do have a lot of bias. So you've got to take that as it is, you know. But essentially, no, I think your physical prime, you know, as you're getting past 30, you're starting to slowly decline. And it is very slow. I do want to point that out. It's very, very, like, you know, when you're 30, you don't just rapidly, like, shrivel up or anything, as we all know. So it is very, very slow. You know, it's just a very, very slow decline, you know, over 20, 30, 40, 50 years, whatever. But I still feel like I believe that that is physicality. That's your prime, and as I say, you slowly go down from there. But yeah, anyway, I won't ramble anymore about that because I think I've just literally like repeated myself about 4 times there. But yeah, that's kind of what I believe anyway. There's other people who are gonna say different things. There's other people who are gonna have different opinions, and that's fair enough. as I say, it is kind of just a little bit conjecture in that way, and we're moving into the realm of sort of spirituality there rather than you know, science or whatever else. But yeah, anyway. We all know Ads is going to live forever. I am not going to live forever. I am going to die, and that is fine. I will accept that over time. I've not accepted death yet, but that's okay. I'll accept it at some point, you know. And the acceptance of death is something we all need to come to terms with. And for me, I feel like for me it's really, really hard. And for other people, I'm sure it's really, really hard for them too. But I think, you know, some people, they might be able to accept it quite easily. But I think the acceptance of death is an important thing. You know, it's very, very important. And in our society, we don't necessarily give it. We don't hold it on the level that we need to hold it on. We need to accept death for what it is. You know, for what it is. We need to accept death for what it is. Not for what we think it should be or what we think might happen after death, but just accept it for what death actually is. You know, of what we know about it in life. Not, as I say, all these different theories or what could happen, what should happen, but accept it for what it basically is, you know, its fundamental idea on within this life, you know. And it's something that I'm slowly coming to terms with. I've been coming to terms with it for the last 6 months or so. I don't know how much longer it's going to take me to completely come to terms with it. Maybe I'll come to terms with it today. Maybe I'll come to terms with it in 6 months. Maybe I'll come to terms with it in 2 years. I don't know, but it's something that I need to do. I feel like I need to really be accepting of death, because it's something that I've held very, very close to me, and I've sort of clung to death for so many years of thinking about it and talking about it and stuff. And I do feel like now it's my time to actually be able to let it go and just think, right, I've had my time studying death, thinking about it, all these possibilities that could arise in death. Now I need to do the sensible thing and start to live and just let go of this fear or this hesitation with death, you know. And then through doing that and through living, you then become more accepting of death. And with that acceptance of death comes the ability to live even more and even more fruitfully in one respect, because you're able to actually you're able to live without this big fear hanging over you. And I'm not saying that you're going to be completely accepting of death. There's always going to be some level of fear, but if you can reduce that fear and you can kind of just accept it for what it is, as I mentioned, and you can live your life, the more and more you live in your life, the more and more amazing things you do and the things that you really enjoy doing with the people you love, the less and less that fear is going to become. And you eventually, when you do get to that moment, you'll be able to just let go. You'll just be able to let go, and you'll fade out, and it won't be as a horrendous experience as you think it's going to be, you know. Everyone thinks it's going to be this, oh God, it's going to be so painful and all this, and it probably will be painful. But if you let go of it, if you let go of all that fear and all this conjecture about it as well, all these different ideas and theories and everything, and you just let go and just see it for what it is, then I do truly believe that in that moment that you die, you won't feel as much pain as other people who are trying to cling to life will. If you just let go of life and embrace death for what it is, then you're not gonna be in as much pain as some other people. And that's something that I'd like to do in my life, kind of help people get over their fear of death, to be able to accept it more, and then ultimately use that knowledge to live a better and more productive life, because they've let go of this ultimate underpinning fear. But again, we're getting into the territory now where there's going to be a lot of disagreement, there's going to be a lot of opinions come in, so I'm sure there's a lot of opinions in the chat about this, and you know, I don't particularly want to stir up this big debate about it or anything, and I don't want people to be you know, to feel like their views are any less than someone else's. I just don't want that in the chat particularly. But anyway, I will go back to ethics and reselling. So if anyone drops any more information in the chat about ethics, you know, in reselling, so as I was talking about what you particularly like dislike, don't sell on a just on a basis of you do not want to sell those items. If you want to share that in the chat, then please do so. Well, it's not that deep for me, because I actually talk about, like, if I actually reveal to you how much I debate in my own mind about life and death, people would be like, oh my god, you're seriously like, you know, on another level in terms of what you should be, well, not what you should be doing, but like on what most people debate about it for, you know, the amount of time that they debate about it for. But it's given me a lot of clarity. It's given me a lot of sense of it's funny because the more you look into it, the less responsible you feel about your own life and about your own death. The more free you become. The more and more you think about it, the more and more you work out actually what is and not what should be or not what could be. You start to be content with what is apparent within yourself. You know, like you just feel so contented with life, death, the universe, whatever. And then you don't need to worry, you know, like, I mean, right now, sometimes I would be incredibly anxious on Thursday talks, but being able to let go and just be present in the moment and just talk to you guys quite openly, quite honestly, and quite freely like I'm doing now, I don't feel as anxious because I've let go, you know, I don't, in this particular moment, I've let go, and I don't need to worry, I don't need to stress, I can just enjoy it for what it is, you know, and that's what it is, you know. It's funny because a lot of people talk about death and they get depressed, but, you know, I don't necessarily get that depressed about death anymore. It's just another topic. It's like talking about, you know, what's the best lighting to use on a green screen for me. It's like, you know, it's hard to explain. It's just like this feeling of not worrying so much anymore. And as I said, I've not come to terms with it completely. So I'm not at the level of, you know, some people who maybe have completely let go, you know, completely let go of that feeling yet. But for where I am, for who I am, it's where I need to be right now. And that's brilliant, you know. Anyway, 5 more minutes, then I must start listing, but this is addictive. I know, I think a lot of people are addicted to Thursday talks. If you worry about what could happen, you won't have time to appreciate what has happened. Exactly, if you don't live in the moment, then you're not going to be, like, if I was constantly worried now, you know, worried about this, worried about that, because I'm doing Thursday talks or whatever, I wouldn't be able to enjoy the comments in the chat. I wouldn't see them, they'd pass me by because my mind's wandered off worrying about something else, you know. But being able to live in the moment, be present, and actually look at the chat and really embrace what people are saying, you then are able to live in the moment and just feel content with that, you know. And there doesn't need to be anything more or less. There doesn't need to be anything better or worse or right or wrong. It's just what is in the moment, what you are doing in the moment. Anyway, all this time living, thinking, debating and forgetting to see the number 7 bus. Why? What's the number? Is that a reference to death, the number 7 bus? I don't know. Is it? I don't know. That's good, ads. It's a fabulous outlet that has helped with your anxiety. It has helped. I think that it's been a rough ride the last few months with looking with really actually kind of experiencing a lot of new things, a lot of new kind of new philosophies. Like, I've looked into a lot of Eastern philosophies and stuff, and it's been quite a wild ride in terms of, you know, some days I've been really happy with what I've learned and I really understand what I've learned, and then other days I've been really like, oh, I don't know whether I particularly agree with that, I don't know whether I particularly like what I'm learning here, but then you realise that it doesn't matter what you learn, it doesn't matter what religious outlet, what scientific outlet you look at, all that matters is that you let go. You don't need to actually have, there's no information that you need in the entire world. You just need to simply let go and experience the world. It doesn't, like, everyone's fixated, everyone's like really wanting to get all this new information. We've got to get these secrets, or we've got to get this new information to make ourselves better. But if you realise that on the basis of who you are is completely enough, and the person you've always been is the person you will always be, and you don't need to better that, you're already there, you're right there right now, it makes you think, doesn't it? It makes you think that, oh right, well, you know, I can relax in my body, I can relax in life, and I can just enjoy, you know, I can just do Thursday talks, I can just do whatever I'm going to do, I can't even think of anything, but whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to enjoy it, and I can just enjoy it. Now, there are times when, your anxiety or depression or whatever it may be you're suffering with can creep back in, even though you are aware that it doesn't need to creep back in because you've let go, essentially. But it still does creep back in, and in those moments, sometimes it's actually better just to embrace it and just to realise that that feeling has come back in, and it's okay that that feeling's come back in. I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go with the flow of this kind of thing. And then what you'll find is it actually subsides a lot quicker than when you're trying to cling to it, or when you're trying to think, oh my God, something's wrong, So it's been a wonderful journey kind of thing for me to learn different things and learn different ways of coping with my anxiety and things like that, and learn different spiritual paths and learn different scientific there's a lot of things that I've learned in science to do with anxiety and stuff, and it's just very interesting just to learn all these different things and put it into perspective for you, for actually you, not someone else, but for you, how this fits in for you. Because what works for me, or what I believe, is going to be different from what someone else believes, and that is really good. If that's if there's something different that works for you and that really, really does help you, and you can get so much enjoyment, and you can get so much happiness out of that thing, whatever it may be, it doesn't matter, then that's perfect, because what works for you is different from what works for me, but we're still getting the same thing out of what those things are, and that thing is ultimately fulfillment and happiness. So it doesn't matter what the things are, how different these two things are that that we're doing, we ultimately get both the same feeling out of it, and that feeling is one that I feel everyone should experience, happiness, fulfillment, feeling like you're a whole person, not feeling like you're sort of like an empty canister in a way, like you're not feeling empty. It's just, I won't ramble anymore because I've just rambled for 20 minutes on that. But anyway, if you've got any more questions in the chat, I don't think we'll do any more on the, I don't think we've got, we need to do any more on the whole ethics thing. We can do if you want. If you've got anything in your, anything in your mind that you want to express in terms of what you would sell, what you wouldn't sell, anything to do with ethics and reselling. Oh, the other thing was obviously like buying up. I've heard this a lot. I watch I actually listen to a Doctor Who podcast. So it's called the Big Blue Box Podcast, if you're interested, if you're a Doctor Who fan or anything. But I watch them, and they often, it kind of annoys me, because sometimes they'll say, it does annoy me when resellers or people who want to resell Doctor Who merchandise go to these shops and buy up a large amount of the item. So I always get a bit annoyed then, because I'm like, oh yeah, but I'm on the other side of this, and it's kind of like, I'm a Doctor Who fan, but I'm also a reseller. So it's interesting, because as a Doctor Who fan, I do get what they're saying. I get where they're coming from in terms of they want the items to go to fans at the price that it's being sold for at the shop, right? Whereas for me, as a Doctor Who fan, I get that, but also I'm a reseller. So I'm like, yeah, but I totally understand that if someone wants to buy 5 or 10 of these items, then that's fine for them to do it, in my opinion, with my morals of reselling. And I think, well, but then again, I go back to being like a Doctor Who fan, and I think, but then if let's say I did that, and then I'm charging double the price or something at the supermarket, imagine all the Doctor Who fans who would then be paying 20 quid more for what they could have got for 20 quid less. So that's a bit of a moral debate right there, whether you should go into a supermarket and buy up loads of different things. Now, for me, I do this with RA anyway, so for the most part, I don't have any moral objection to doing it. But that Doctor Who kind of case study, or whatever you want to call it, did get me thinking, because I did start to think, well, actually, if I did ever buy up Doctor Who stuff on on an RA deal, would I be able to do it? Because I'd be thinking, well, all those other Doctor Who fans who are as passionate as me about it, they'd end up paying more for those items, and I don't feel that's particularly right in that circumstance, because I am viewing those, you know, other people as myself, as you know, as the people, as just like myself in terms of being as big a fan as I am, kind of thing. And it then makes me think, well, you know, I'd struggle doing that. I'd actually struggle buying a lot of Doctor Who items to sell on eBay with that thought in my mind. So, yeah, it's an interesting one, because for the most part, I would be like, yeah, I don't mind buying up a lot of stuff, you know, to sell, and it doesn't, you know, I mean, there is that other thing about, oh my god, you know, there's a little kid there or something and you're buying up the entire shelf or something. Now, I'm sure what we'd all do in that situation is just leave a couple on the shelf and the kid could have that other couple. But I'm sure there's other people right at the end of the spectrum who would clear the entire shelf, and even if there was a little kid standing right next to him who wanted one of them, they wouldn't even give it to that little kid. Not one of them, even if they had 100 of them. They wouldn't give one up. But, you know, it's interesting, because a lot of the time I would be quite, you know, happy just to buy up a load of Lego items or something. But I think there's different levels to it, isn't there? I suppose, like, there's some people who would just buy 3 or 4 off a shelf of 10. There's some people who would buy up the entire 10. Maybe there's others who would only want to buy 1. Even if they knew there was 10 on the shelf, they'd only buy 1 because they want other people to have a chance to get them and stuff. And as I say, in my situation with Doctor Who, if maybe you're a fan of a particular show, let's just take, oh, I don't know, what could I take, for example? Oh, I don't know that many shows, wouldn't you? What's got a good, like Octonauts, right? I don't know why I thought of Octonauts, but it's the only thing that came to mind. But yeah, so we take Octonauts, right? And we think, you know, I'm a fan of Octonauts, let's say. I know it's a bit odd because I'm 22 years old. Well, I'm not a fan of Octonauts, but it's a bit odd even just for this example, to be honest. But I'm a fan of Octonauts, and, you know, I see a few kids around there, and I think to myself, great, there's loads of them there. I know I can make a great margin on that. Then in that position, you'd struggle again, wouldn't you? You know, me as a fan of Octonauts, I'd struggle taking it away from them kids. So I think there is all these different levels to it, and different people will be able to do different things, you know. Hope it's not a follow and unfollow. Why? What's a follow and unfollow? Wait, what? Ads merch? Yeah, well, there is links in the description, but I'm doing a giveaway, and I mentioned this last week. So don't buy any yet, because you might be able to win one in the giveaway, and that means you get one for free. So don't go down there and buy them yet, because I'm going to do a giveaway. I'm thinking of doing a small, a medium, and a large. Now, also, I want to point out as well, like I did before, let me just flip back onto me. Oh God, we're almost an hour. God, it goes quick, doesn't it? Now, these are the old merch, right? These aren't the new merch. I actually like the new merch better. So what I've done is I've compiled a small collection of the new merch, because it's just better. I like the new merch. It's much better. And this was from Teespring. Now, the quality of Teespring, obviously I'm not going to whip this, but this isn't particularly amazing quality. It's good quality, but not amazing. And this print on here, you can't see it very well. Well, you can see it very well, but what I mean is you can't see the print hasn't come out that well. And I do feel on a few washes it would actually come off. And I don't want to be selling to people, you know, I don't want to be selling crap merch to people, basically. So I've actually gone with Amazon merch opposed to Teespring. Now, I've not got any samples from Amazon merch yet. I'm going to get them in the next few days when, obviously, I buy some to do the giveaway. So, if I get them and they're not good quality, I'll probably end up scrapping the merch idea anyway, because I don't want to sell crap quality merch to people. I just don't want to do it. So, essentially, we'll see on that. Now, obviously, I'll give the ones that I've ordered away free, because I'm just giving them away free. But, yeah, if they aren't the most brilliant quality, then I'll probably end up scrapping the merch for a bit. Maybe bring it back if I can find another site. I know, what is it? Is it, what's it called? Redbubble? Is that another site? But I do find that these print-on-demand sites, you know, it's great that you can do it and everything, and you don't have to store it, you don't have to make your t-shirts and stuff. But the quality isn't that good. I don't know about Amazon merch. I think Amazon merch will probably be okay compared to Teespring, but I have to say I've not particularly had a good experience with Teespring with the prints. They're okay, but you can quite easily tell they're, you know, they're printed on them and not, like, this feels really weird. You know, when I rub my hand against it, it just feels weird. It feels like you can really feel, it feels like a cheap print, you know. I think I could probably, yeah, I can kind of feel where the print just leaves as well, which I suppose is normal, but I've seen t-shirts, and I've even felt t-shirts with prints on that are really, really good. So what I'd love in future, like, I don't know whether I'd be able to do this, but I'd like my own website that's hooked up to a individual supplier that I've actually gone down there to check out the quality. And yes, okay, I might have to put my prices up a bit because it's an individual supplier and it's better quality, but I think I'd rather do that than sell things maybe 4 or 5 quid cheaper, because that's all it would be, you know, 3, 4, 5 quid price increase. Selling it, you know, cheaper, but it's just a crap quality product. So yeah, I'd like to do that, and I've seen quite a lot of YouTubers do it. I think PewDiePie does that. I don't know. He probably actually has. I don't know. He might even have a bigger company do it for him or something. But I think his stuff is pretty good quality. I know about How Ridiculous YouTube channel. They do it on their own site. So yeah, I think that's probably the way forward to do it if you want to properly do the merch side of things. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go in a minute because we're actually at the hour. I don't know what I was gonna say. What was that? There was something else I was gonna say actually. Right then, I'll just quickly look up. This channel needs a new title. This chat needs a new title. I know. They all need... Bloody hell, they all need new titles. Have you not got that yet? Death is such a small part of life, it's not worth worrying about. Exactly. That's actually pretty good. Bust out like Hulk had. No, I'm not gonna do... To be honest, I feel like I could actually do that though. Like, it feels strong, but... I don't know, it feels pretty strong, but at the same time it's very, very thin. You know, it's quite thin, it's not like really thick. I don't know, maybe I couldn't do it, but... maybe I couldn't do it, I don't know, maybe. Right, anyway, I believe you could be a fan of Octonauts. Yeah, maybe, I don't know, but... right, well, Spreadshirt is another. Oh, I might check that one out then, Tom. Anyway, right, I'll leave it there, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I don't know what else I was going to talk about. Oh, no, there was nothing else I was going to talk about, I don't think. What is it tomorrow? Oh, tomorrow at 7 PM, as usual, my normal time of uploading, is going to be a vlog. And guess who's back in it? Yes, that's right. My mum returns in one of the videos, finally. Like, she's not been in any videos for ages. So, obviously, check that out tomorrow at 7 PM. That's actually a pretty good vlog. I quite enjoyed going, I went to Altrincham, and I quite enjoyed doing that. And I got some good bits from the charity shops, actually, finally. So, yeah, tune in for that at 7 PM tomorrow, and I will leave it there, guys. So, yeah, just been over an hour, so I will leave it there, and I will see you in the next one. So, I'll see you very soon, guys. Well, that's that done. Oh, wait, no, damn it.